Welcome, Cancer, to your in-depth monthly astrology overview and Zodiac forecast for April 2026 for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. I'm going to share with you the big themes of the month first, then on screen your event chart as we come into April always provides an influential backdrop for the whole month. I'll then go through each of the influences frame by frame to give you a clear picture of what you can expect around energy, work, relationships, and money. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundell. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to the channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. As we go into this month, there could be a sense still of wanting to change things up, perhaps be more adventurous. But then there's going to be a big shift for you, Cancer, which is going to focus your thinking very much on your connection to the wider world. But it's also an opportunity to raise your profile and make giant steps forwards. It could be really exciting. We are going to see, however, a full moon on the 2nd, and lunations are always very important to you because of your ruler, the moon. What will that mean? And it's going to be a lunation that's blessed by Jupiter in your sign. I can't wait to share that with you. On the 17th, there's a new moon in Aries and an opportunity to heal perhaps how you feel about your public persona or around a job you're not enjoying, or perhaps an old relationship that had power dynamics. But as we enter the last 10 days of the month, we have a switch of gear. The sun moves into the friendliest part of your scope, but it is challenged by the tiny but influential Pluto. What's the implications? And then, as the cosmic curtain is about to come down on the month, Venus, the planet of relating, moves into a delicate area, but joined by Uranus a couple of days after. Uranus can be about innovation, but it can also be about disruption. It's moved into or moves into a very discrete meditative part of your scope for the next 7 years. And it's going to be an exciting and profound journey for you. So on the screen now, Cancer, is your event chart. As ever, we need to be mindful of your ruler, the moon, and also the sun, the two luminaries. So the moon is there down in house 3 initially, but it's in the sign of Virgo, which can be about precision, but it's that opposition with Neptune that I think is intriguing. It suggests that communications this month, particularly around your work, do require some concentration because that's a very dreamy influence and it's the most northerly player in your chart, so set to be very influential. But the position of the sun right at the top of your chart in Aries, and it's now moved into the second decan of the sign, which is sub-ruled by the sun. Now, the sun in Aries is exalted anyway, so this adds extra radiance. So if you are wanting to focus on your career and go for some big goals, that's a very helpful portent. But that energy in the sign of Pisces that I mentioned at the outset is perhaps making you think about a change or learning some new skills or telling people about knowledge that you've got, particularly with Mercury in a stunning alliance with Jupiter in your sign. So do have the confidence as you come into this month. If you've got something to say that you feel is valuable and useful to others, do have the confidence to go forwards with that, because all through this month, your ideas can gain extra currency. Now, also Mars, despite Mercury's recent retrograde in that ninth house, which may have caused some tensions or confusion around a travel plan or perhaps even some snags. But Mars has actually been pushing you to be more physically adventurous. But as we go into this month, from the 3rd to the 9th, Mars moves forwards and forges a very helpful angle to Uranus. Now, Uranus for 7 years has really given you an opportunity to shake up your long-term plans, your friendship circle. You may have created some freedom in some ways, but that link between Mars and Uranus is very dynamic. So if there's something in your life that you're not enjoying, and it could be that job, that link between the two, which is going to peak by the 9th, but will resonate throughout the month, is really encouraging you to have the confidence to make a change. But we are, of course, seeing that full moon on the 2nd, and it sees the moon having moved forwards into the part of your scope to do with your home and emotion. And essentially, Libra is very much about balance. Is your preoccupation with work or the demands that you have, perhaps in being a leader in your family, if there are people that need your care, older relatives, younger kids, perhaps those demands, along with juggling your uh, demands with your profession, they could be something that are proving a little tricky. But just know that Jupiter is broadly in a T square with this particular full moon. And I think it's just saying to us all to have a generosity of spirit. Whatever tensions we experience, if we can try to understand why people may be reacting in the way they are, it's going to help to ease things. But if you are very single-minded about your career, I think that full moon is saying to you, you do need a good support structure in order to really seize the moment. Now, we are going to have Mars move into Aries on the 9th. And why that's particularly significant, of course, is because it rules the sign. But Mars in the 10th house is very confident, it's very assured, but it also can be very assertive. And if you do need to seize the moment when it comes to your professional interactions or anything you're doing locally in a volunteer or community role, you're going to just feel that much more comfortable with the spotlight, which is absolutely delicious. Now, Mars is going to be joined by Mercury on the 15th, and that's developing this energy in this 10th house. But of course, Saturn is in the sign, and Mars soon reaches into a connection with Neptune and Saturn. And if something isn't working quite so well, you're not enjoying your situation, particularly if you're in a big organization and you're more of a natural bohemian. If you're someone who wants to express your soul energy, it may be that constraints of that organization just seem somewhat limiting. But just know if you do want to go for it and you do feel at ease, the link between Mars and Pluto, which develops in week 3, can really see you make a giant stride forwards. And it could also bring in extra income for you. But followed by Mercury. Obviously, Mercury is about communication. So if you're not enjoying something, it could be an opportunity to talk to someone else, refresh your resume, go online, join up with job agencies. But it may also be a time for you to rethink. And that could be through a complete change of what you're doing now, because you're going to be taking so seriously what you do on a daily basis. A lot of potential changes or opportunities can develop. And that all crests to a climax on the 17th when we have the new moon in Aries. It's the first new moon we've had since last September that's not 28 degrees. This one's 27, so it's still pretty late, but it is in a conjunction with Chiron. And what makes that particularly positive? Chiron in the 10th house, where it's been for you, really from February 2019, it's been asking you to understand who you are in terms of your identity, Aries, but also in terms of you haven't always felt validated professionally, and to release some of that. And the sun applying to Chiron is a great chance to not judge yourself too harshly if there have been past failures, things that didn't quite go to plan, you didn't fit in somewhere. Just take that in your stride now, because this new moon can rebirth you in a very powerful way. But also at the start of this month, a very social Venus is developing, but it does square off with Pluto. If there is some jealousy around some friendships or group dynamics, it could show up through the first week. But generally, that's pretty social. But it may be a case of actually spending time with people you work with a little bit more as this month goes on. Now, on the 20th, the Sun plays catch up with Venus briefly, which is soon to move, and of course with Uranus in Taurus. But it too squares with Pluto. And that's one of astrology's most challenging influences. And because the sun moves into the most idealistic part of your chart, very much to do with your long-term plan, if you're not really not enjoying what you're doing for a living, I feel in the last 10 days of this month, you're going to think very deeply about how that can change, because you may want to feel that there's a higher purpose to your work. And if you are a more idealistic Cancer, that's going to speak very powerfully to you. And if you're needing to deal with people who are very focused on the bottom line, that could be something that you find challenging. But then Venus moves into your 12th house on the 24th. Now, in terms of the romantic dimension, even if you did find yourself having quite a hot connection at the start of the month, which is possible even if it was a little heavy too, with that square with Pluto, as Venus moves into your 12th house, it could see you being very nostalgic. You may even think of an old flame. You could find yourself wanting to step back a little bit from the more busy side of your social interactions and spend time with people that you really feel the most comfortable with. But then Uranus arriving in the sign of Gemini on the 26th for 7 years is truly powerful. Uranus in the 12th house can affect our psychological energy. But because you're on a water sign and, of course, ruled by the moon, you're often more attuned to your emotions than most. But you may be surprised over the next 7 years how Uranus can rake up different perspectives. But it can also give you some superb opportunities to embrace healing in different, fresh, and exciting ways. Now, I'm going to summarize those 4 areas for you, Cancer. But just to say, if you've yet to watch your Saturn 29-year cycle deep dive video, please see that on screen. You can sign up for your free daily horoscope by clicking on the link beneath this video. Get your celestial pit stop each day. We've produced these for near to 30 years. And if you'd like to work with me one-to-one, please see the link below and you can check out my testimonials. And if you'd like to apply this kind of technical astrology to your understanding of your life journey, there's 50% off my personal horoscopes at the present time. Please apply Astro 26 or Draco 26 at the checkout for the natal or draconic versions. Now, to summarize, in terms of your career, I think this can be one of the most important months of your life. But if you're not enjoying it, it could be a time when you break free of something that you've been very committed to for a long time. So it could be a time of climax and breakthrough, or a time of complete change. If that does happen, try to take it in your stride. When it comes to your relationship sector, I think being supportive to you around your big hopes is something you're going to really appreciate with a partner, but also the friendship factor is key too. If you're single, I think there could be a connection to a friend this month, even if it is somewhat transactional, sorry. I think it could be a little bit steamy, even so. And when it comes to your energy, a lot of time spent at work will starve you of that emotional dimension that's important. So do take the moments you can just to step back and have some quiet moments of peace and relaxation. All the best for April, Cancer. Take care and goodbye.